All right, everybody, welcome back. You ready for this? I am, because today we are going deep on Nvidia's Cosmos World model,
Oh, yeah. Is the talk of CES 2025.
and we're going to see why.
Definitely.
Okay, so
Uh,
first things first, before we get lost in the sauce, what does Cosmos even stand for?
Well, Cosmos stands for Compositional and Modular System for Open World Synthesis.
Okay,
Catchy, right?
it is catchy.
But in essence, it's a platform for creating these incredibly realistic and dynamic virtual worlds
Okay,
with AI and, of course, NVIDIA's GPUs behind it all.
so this isn't just like another game engine. This is,
No, no, no. This is a whole other level.
okay,
Like, we're talking about simulations that could change everything from robotics to even climate science.
okay.
So think of it like building with Legos.
Um,
You're snapping together different pieces.
I like it.
And each one of those pieces is a separate AI model.
Okay.
So you might have one AI that's handling the visuals, another one doing the physics, another one controls how characters behave, and they all work together seamlessly.
Wow. They're communicating, they're interacting to make this believable world.
Okay. So you said modular. So are developers building these AI models from scratch?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
That's the cool thing about this modularity. They can actually grab these pre-built AI components,
Oh, wow.
almost like downloading apps.
And like an app store for
Yeah.
virtual worlds.
Yeah, and plug them right into their simulations. So this saves them so much time and effort,
Wow, that's amazing.
and they can focus on the bigger picture.
So what makes it an open world?
That's where things get really interesting. Unlike a video game where you're following a script,
Right.
in Cosmos, things can happen dynamically.
Okay.
So imagine you've got this virtual city, the AI characters, they can go about their day, they're reacting to events, they're making choices, and actually impacting the world around them.
So this is getting a little too Black Mirror for me, but I can see how that's useful.
Right.
So give me an example.
Let's take self-driving cars.
Okay.
Imagine training a self-driving car in Cosmos,
Uh-huh.
in a virtual city with, like, pedestrians.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Changing weather, even like jaywalkers.
Yeah, no, you can't program for a jaywalk.
Exactly.
Those are scary.
But in Cosmos, they can train the AI safely and efficiently
Okay,
without any risk.
that makes a lot more sense.
And speaking of virtual cities, let's talk about the Metaverse.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm putting on my VR headset.
Right.
Ready?
So picture this, a Metaverse platform that's built on Cosmos,
Uh-huh.
where you can do more than just like play games and chat.
Okay.
You could design buildings, you could buy virtual real estate, and your choices actually shape how that virtual city grows and evolves.
See, now this sounds more interesting than my meeting I have later today,
Right.
but it sounds like Cosmos is more than just fun and games.
Oh, for sure. One area where it's making a huge impact is climate research.
Okay.
So scientists are using it to create incredibly detailed simulations of things like coral reefs.
Wow. So they can actually see what happens to the reef when the water temperature changes or if there's pollution.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It lets them study the effects of climate change, but in this safe, controlled environment,
That's amazing.
and test different ways to protect these ecosystems.
Okay. This is seriously impressive stuff.
Yeah.
But is it accessible to everyone? What about like smaller companies or researchers?
That's a great question. And that actually leads us to one of the biggest challenges with Cosmos right now.
Okay, so let's talk about those challenges because, Cosmos sounds amazing.
It does.
But like you said,
Mm-hmm.
not everyone can just jump in and start using it.
Right. And one of the biggest hurdles right now is the cost.
Okay.
Running these incredibly detailed simulations,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of computing power.
Uh-huh.
Like we're talking banks of NVIDIA's most powerful GPUs.
Oh, wow.
And that's a serious investment.
Yeah, so not something you can run on just like a regular computer at home.
Not really, no.
Oh.
You need that heavy-duty hardware.
Okay.
And that cost can be a major barrier for like startups,
Right.
smaller research teams.
Yeah, if you don't have that infrastructure,
Exactly. It's like having a Formula One race car, but you can't afford the gas or the track.
I like that analogy.
Right.
So are there any solutions in the works to kind of make this more accessible?
Well, cloud computing is looking really promising.
Okay.
It's becoming more powerful and more affordable.
Right.
And it could be a game changer for Cosmos, because imagine being able to tap into like a cloud-based version
Yeah, wow.
where you just pay for what you need.
Oh, wait.
You don't have to buy all that expensive equipment.
Yeah, that would be huge.
Yeah,
That'll open up so many doors.
exactly.
But what about the learning curve? I mean, is it easy to just pick up and start using Cosmos?
Well, that's another challenge. You
Ah,
do need a pretty solid understanding of AI programming
right.
and simulation
It's just not
techniques.
exactly user-friendly.
Not quite yet.
Yeah.
But I think as the technology matures, we'll see more tools and resources to help people get started.
Okay.
And there's a growing community of developers and researchers who are working to make it more accessible.
That's good to hear. So we've talked about autonomous vehicles and the metaverse.
Yeah.
What are some other cool ways that people are using Cosmos?
Well, industrial robotics is another big one.
Okay.
You know, robots working in warehouses, factories, even like disaster
Right,
zones.
because those environments can be so unpredictable.
Exactly.
It's got to be hard to program for every scenario.
Right. But with Cosmos, you can create these super realistic virtual environments
Right.
where robots can train for all kinds of situations,
Oh, wow.
like navigating a cluttered warehouse,
Okay.
identifying and moving objects,
Oh, that's so
actually
free.
with working alongside humans.
Wow. So it's like giving them a crash course in the real world,
Exactly.
but virtually.
Right. And by training them in Cosmos, you can reduce the risk of errors when they're out in the real world.
That makes a lot of
And
sense.
it can really speed up the development process.
So we've got self-driving cars,
Mm-hmm.
the metaverse, climate research.
Mm-hmm.
Now, industrial robots.
Hmm.
Is there anything Cosmos can't do?
Well, it's still early days. There are definitely limitations, but the potential is huge. I think we're just scratching the surface.
My mind is officially blown.
Mine too.
There we go. So we've talked about what Cosmos is, what it can do, some of the challenges. But now I want to look ahead. What's the future of Cosmos? Where do you see this technology going?
I think one of the most exciting things is how it's going to blur the lines between virtual and real.
Okay.
Right now, it's mainly used for training and simulation. But as the technology gets even better, I think we'll see it being used in our everyday lives.
Oh, wow. Like,
Think about augmented reality,
Yeah,
where virtual elements are overlaid onto the real world.
right.
So imagine architects using Cosmos to show clients virtual walkthroughs of buildings,
Oh, wow.
or surgeons using it to practice complex procedures before they even operate.
That's amazing. It's like bringing those virtual worlds to life.
Exactly. And I think it's also going to revolutionize the way we learn and train.
How so?
Imagine learning history by actually stepping into ancient Rome,
Wow.
or mastering a new skill in a totally safe simulated environment.
That would be incredible. It would make learning so much more engaging.
Right, it would take things to a whole new level.
But with all this talk about blurring the lines between virtual and real, are there any ethical concerns?
Absolutely. We need to be very careful about how we use this technology.
Right.
We have to think about the potential risks, like addiction or people losing touch with reality.
Yeah. It's a powerful tool.
It is, and it's important that we use it responsibly and ethically.
Well said.
Yeah,
I think this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of Cosmos.
it really has.
We've covered so much, from the basics to the mind-blowing possibilities
Yeah.
and even some of the challenges.
And I think it's clear that Cosmos is going to have a major impact on the world.
Definitely. I can't wait to see what the future holds for this technology. And thanks to everyone for joining us on this journey. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another deep dive into the world of cutting-edge tech.